Hello there everybody, welcome back to FMBase. I'm Dodgee Gamer, giving Zealand a bit of a break while he gets to grips with Football Manager 2020. And yes, just last night, a big Halloween shock. The FM20 beta is finally here. Why is Zealand calling me now?
FM Beta.
Excuse me?
FM Beta.
The beta.
The illustrious FM Beta.
I think you'll find it is the beta.
The beta.
Okay, I can see you're going to be stubborn about this. Let's put this one to the community.
It's the beta.
It's the beta.
It's the beta.
Oh man, guys, I can't believe you didn't have my back there.
It's the beta.
Well, thank you, Sephian.
It's not the beta. What you want me to say? It's the beta.
Okay, Liam, roll the intro. So yes, the beta is finally here. Earlier than expected, if that makes any sense. But if, like that guy JC, you've been caught yet again with your pants down, you might be scrambling for an idea of who to manage during the beta. Well, we've got you covered, because here we run down some of the best options for a short-term beta save. If you are interested, however, in more long-term saves, well, I've covered that in my previous video, so you can check that one out. Yes. So, a few things to bear in mind though before you pick your save for the beta. I always think it's a good idea to go for a team that's got a bit of a story or got a bit of a challenge attached to them. That just makes the game all that more interesting, and it just gives you that greater sense of pride and achievement when you do get somewhere with them. And also, if you completely flop, well, maybe you can just say the challenge was insurmountable. So we're going to look at the 3 R's of a beta save: revival, rescue, and replication. So starting with revival, there's so many teams that have fallen from grace and plummeted down the divisions for one reason or another. Just looking at the British Isles for recent examples, I mean, you've got Portsmouth, you've got Rangers, Leeds, Coventry, Sunderland, Bolton, Bury, Man United. It would be funny if it wasn't true. But we also have teams that have risen back up, such as Wolves and Brighton. So that would be a good challenge, to take on one of those falling giants, stop the rot and bring them back up. We know about all those English ones, so let's look a bit further afield for some ideas. We'll start in Germany. And the first team that springs to mind there is Hamburger SV. Here we're talking about a club 6-time champions of Germany, former European champions. However, since the turn of the millennium, they've just had a solitary German League Cup victory way back in 2003. They're currently down in the Bundesliga 2, but they're a team rich in history. They've got a massive stadium, so can you bring them back up into the Bundesliga, into the top flight, where they would argue they belong? Staying in Germany with a true fallen giant, Kaiserslautern. No, I did not pick them because of that combination of letters on their badge. I picked them because they are a team with a storied past. They were 2 times champions in the 1990s, but they've only had 1 season in the top flight since 2005. They're currently wallowing down in the 3rd tier. Again, they're a big name in German football. They've got that past, they've got that support. Can you stop the rot and get them back into Bundesliga 2, and maybe even in a second season push them through to the top flight? And just to mix things up a little bit more, we're going to go a bit out to the left field now with Gaziantepspor of Turkey. At one time in the not too recent past, they looked like they were the team that were finally going to break the stranglehold of the big 3 of Galatasaray, Fenerbahce and Beşiktaş on the Turkish title. In 1999 and in 2000 they were runners-up. They then dipped a bit, but they came back. They finished in the top 4 for a couple of seasons in a row and won the Turkish Cup in 2011. They've had a couple of decent runs in Europe, but financial troubles, mismanagement have hit them hard. They've dropped down the divisions like a stone. They've had points deductions and fines and all kinds of problems and difficulties to deal with. Now, they've had a couple of seasons settled in the Turkish second division, which is the 3rd tier, and now they're prime to come back up. Maybe you could be the one to do that. So from revival to rescue, the difference between the two being the revival focuses on the teams who've really plummeted down and are in dire need of saving. The rescue focuses more on the immediate short-term problems those teams are having. Teams who are struggling in real life at the moment, and it will be just an interesting challenge to see if you can steer them away from danger. Now, there are many teams to choose from in this category. We're going to highlight 3 for you. We'll start with a team close to Sport Interactive's, or maybe more accurately, Miles Jackerson's heart, Watford. Watford have had a very poor start to the Premier League season. The signs were there last year that they were on the way down, but so far, as of recording this, 10 matches, 5 draws, 5 defeats. It's just not going well for them. And their squad is a strange collection of nearly men of football. Players like Gomez and Foster as their goalkeepers. Dawson, Welbeck, Delafou, Chalobah. All these guys who, maybe in past versions of FM would go on to great things. But here they've kind of found themselves stuck in the mud a bit. But Watford do also have a player with the fantastic name of Isaac Success. So can you take inspiration from him and make Watford a success once again? Staying in England with Stoke City. Stoke City, of course, were relegated 2 seasons ago. They could not get out of the Championship last year, and right now they're rooted to the bottom. Now, this is a team that had a good run in the Premiership. They were a stable mid-table team for a number of years. They signed some decent players. They had the likes of Bojan, they had Ryan Shawcross, they had an ageing but still useful Peter Crouch. But then they were hit with the curse of Europe and increased expectations. They do have a dedicated, loyal fan base. Can you stop them being the next Sunderland and bring them back up? Moving outside of England, a team struggling this year, to many people's surprise, Anderlecht. We're talking about a team here that are champions of Belgium 34 times. They've also in the past won the Cup Winners' Cup and the UEFA Cup. They formerly had Belgian legend Enzo Schifo on their books, and more recently they've had players like Lukaku, Football Manager legend Van den Boer, and their current manager Vincent Kompany come through their ranks. But they're currently struggling. In real life they're down in the bottom half of the table. So can you do what Kompany has been unable to do so far and get them rising back up the table? Now, of course, in terms of a rescue save, you don't have to look for a real world struggle. You can also use the game itself, and this is a great way to set up a beta save because it applies to any league, any division in the game. Just go through and look for the team that the media predict to finish last. Take them over and defy the odds. And finally, we come to the R of replication, or emulation, or going one better, but I couldn't think of another synonym with R to fit. Starting here with Wolves, a surprise package of sorts in recent years, and a team that has also undergone a revival, having recently dropped down to League One and come back up. After a very good season last year, helped in no small part by the Portuguese influence, they're currently dealing with the millstone that is the Europa League, and it's Thursday night to Sunday afternoon schedule. At least they get saved from the Monday games as long as Man United and Arsenal are still in the competition. So at Wolves, the talent is there, the money is there, the support is there. What perhaps is not there is the depth in the squad. So can you keep them in the top half of the table and also give them a decent run in Europe? Moving over to Spain and Granada FC. Now, this is a team that's been all over the Spanish league system in its history, but in the last 10 years or so, they've been in the top 2 divisions. Whenever they've been in La Liga, they've always been near the bottom. They've been relegated a couple of times in the last decade. This time, though, they've been promoted back, and they are soaring. They were top of La Liga at one point, showing Barca and Real Madrid how it's done, and they currently sit on 20 points in 4th place, their best ever start to a season. So, can you take over at this small, struggling Spanish club, or predicted to be struggling Spanish club, and can you do the same thing that they've managed in real life? And finally to Scotland and Aberdeen, a team that kind of covers all 3 of the R's. They're a revival team in the sense that you're talking about a team that's formerly won a European trophy, the Cup Winners' Cup, and has been the top team in Scotland. But the replication or the emulation comes from the fact that they finished near the top of the Scottish Premiership a lot recently. They've been runners-up on a couple of occasions. They've finished in the top 4. Also a bit of a rescue, because since Rangers have come back up, they've kind of started to slip down the table a little bit. So here's a great club with a great history that just needs that little bit of extra boost from some erstwhile football manager. But it will be a tough ask, but can you, in 1 or 2 beta seasons, get them to challenge for that Scottish title? So there you have it, some ideas, some food for thought to get you ready for the beta.
FM Beta.
Okay, the beta. If you have any other ideas for challenges or clubs with an interesting story, or you just want to tell us who you've started managing with already, drop that down in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And while you're here, please like this video, subscribe to FMBase if you haven't done so already, and check out my channel too, Dodgee Gamer, where I'll be starting my beta save with Boca Juniors.